Chevening scholar from University of Sussex. We're here to discuss to share some information about Chevening and discuss some tips on essay writing and all that. Yeah. I am Frita, I'm from Ethiopia. I will let my scholar friends to introduce themselves. And first, ladies first.
Thank you. Hi everyone, it's good to be here. My name is Aminata Jete and I'm a Chevening scholar from the Gambia.
Hi, my name is Namsi Udosen. I'm a global citizen, Chevening scholar with origins in Nigeria.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Thailand.
I'm Ogene Chowe. You can call me OG from Nigeria.
Okay, thank you everyone. So let's discuss about Chevening. What's Chevening and what makes Chevening different?
Thank you very much. This is something that I'm always passionate about discussing. Chevening, I can say, it's not to brag anyway. It's the best scholarship that anyone can get in this world, and I will tell you why. Okay. So, if you talk about the Chevening scholarship, it's the UK government global scholarship program that is for international students, and Chevening is an opportunity that doesn't discriminate. It's not specific to just African countries or Asian countries, but it's a global program for anyone from anywhere in this world. So that's inclusivity. Another opportunity that Chevening gives us, it's merit based. Yeah. Anyone who gets Chevening is most deserving of it, and all of you are witnesses to that, right? So the other opportunity is that Chevening offers you the platform to network. It's not just an educational opportunity, but it gives you the opportunity to network with different scholars around the world. Since we came to Sussex, we had a reception, we had meet and greet session. But most importantly, Chevening also gives you the opportunity to just study in any UK university just for 1 year. That gives you the chance as a global leader to eagerly go back to your country and develop, right? It's not a 2-year program that takes so long. So these are the few tips that makes Chevening stand out so well. I'll just pass it to my fellow scholars to talk more on that.
She make me want to apply again. Okay, that was really fantastic, Aminata. And what are the requirements for Chevening scholarship, Namse?
Yeah, the requirements. Number one, you have to be from an eligible country to qualify for the Chevening scholarship. So you have to have a first degree. You have to have a first degree, whether it is a bachelor's degree, HND. You also have a first degree. You just have a this course does not matter. Have a first degree. Thirdly, you have to have 2 years of work experience. And when we talk of work experience, it doesn't mean you have to be a bank manager, or you have to be the head of an organization, or you're working in a formal sector. Any kind of work for 2 years counts. You can be as a volunteer, graduate assistant, a partner, part-time work. As long as you have up to 2 years, that's perfect. And then finally, you have to write the essays.
I want to emphasize what Nam said, that Chevening cares about your accomplishment.
Yeah.
And your
what you've
passion.
Done. Yeah, your passion,
It's not about the grades, being high.
You don't have a first class or you're the best student in your school or the best that. No, as long as you've had experience in leadership.
A lot of questions asking about Chevening. Does Chevening require IELTS and TOEFL and English requirement test, or tell us about the courses and all that?
Oh, okay. So on the issue around English tests, so Chevening does not require any form of English test. But majorly, most of the schools or some of the schools in the UK, they require English tests. Mm-hmm. So I think with regards to English tests, you just have to, check your school requirements. So what school are you actually interested in? Do your research and be sure you meet their English requirements, because the UK is an English-speaking country and all the courses are actually going to be taught in English. So you need to be able to demonstrate your ability to learn and also engage in English language conversations. So for Chevening, you don't need to actually write the IELTS test, but for the schools, you have to check the requirements. So I think that's
but you have to you don't have, when you do the application, you don't necessarily have to have the IELTS test, but you also fill the universities, right? So it's better to check
Earlier.
earlier
Yes, you have to do that
because,
earlier, yes.
because you don't get a chance to change your university. You only have a
Yes.
chance one time to change your
I
university.
think during your interview.
So,
interview.
maybe doing your research first wouldn't hurt. How about the courses regarding?
No.
You can take any course you
I
want to do.
always tell people that Chevening is ready to fund anything you want to do, but just demonstrate that
You
it's
deserve
your
it.
interest. Yes, you can actually do it, and it's going to
Yeah.
have like impact in your country. That's all. Anything you want to do, like I've seen Chevening sponsor some kind of course, and I'm like, and I think that's the beauty about Chevening. You get to see
Diversity.
diversity.
You should. That's right, because some of that scholarship will say, okay, scholarship for only science students. Some will do scholarship for only art students.
Yeah.
Scholarship
Yeah,
for only
that's-
gender studies. But Chevening is everything.
Okay, let's proceed to the essay. When we do Chevening application, the most important. All of the application process are important, but you get selected based on majorly your essay.
Essays,
So let's discuss about the essays, and you guys are going to tell us from your experience, tips, and all that about. Let's break down all the essays. So let's start with leadership essay. Who want to be a leader and take this question?
Ladies first.
Okay. The
So
floor
they're
is yours.
pushing all the leadership. Okay, we accept.
We accept, yeah.
We accept. So basically, speaking from my own experience, when the question about leadership is really looking at as an individual, what impact have you done in your community, or what kind of community projects or initiatives are you working on? Right? So if we talk about impact, it's not only about how many people you have reached, right? But how many lives have you changed, for example, in the development field. So when I spoke about leadership, I didn't only limit it to the number of people I have reached, but I also went further to look at the amounts of lives I have changed, the amounts of people I have influenced, and the amount of young girls I have mentored. That's impact, right?
Yeah.
So it's not only about going to the community and reaching 5,000 people. The number sounds very good, right? But what actually are those people doing with the information or the knowledge that you give them, right? So the other aspect of the leadership also has to do with the type of activities or projects you're working on. Right, so it has to be related to it. I cannot say, I cannot start to respond to my essay and say, okay, I am working in the field of gender equality. I have influenced, let's say, 5,000 adolescent girls, and 20 of those girls are into the energy sector. 20 of those girls are into the environment sector. Right, it has to relate. It has to be linked, and I have to understand. I have to have a direction in my writing.
Yeah.
It has to flow,
Yeah.
right? There shouldn't be any confusion in your response. It has to flow.
I just want to say one thing, because when we write our essays, we have to tell our story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The story, when you can't just say I am a leader because I have this leadership skills.
No.
Because you have to tell a story, you have to tell example, and let those
Link it,
examples tell that you have the leadership quality
quality,
that's stated, you think
In
that
your
you have.
response, yeah.
So that's the most important thing that to consider, in my opinion.
Okay, for my leadership essays, for my tips, I would say I use an approach called the STAR approach. I think you all know that the STAR approach.
Yeah, sure.
It's contain S with situations, describe what kind of situation you face, like in the leadership's role.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
T
T, yeah.
is task. Did you get the task to do it? Maybe some projects or some problems you have to solve, right? So A is action, how you cope with that task, how you answer this task. And the last is results. So what's the result of your actions, and how did you see the impact or influence for the society from your action? So I put these things on the leadership essays and as well as the free essay list. Yeah, so that's my tips.
Okay, so building on the STAR approach, some persons actually add what is called, they call it STAR, 2 arrow. So the STAR actually is, the second arrow stands for results and reward.
Oh.
But also add your reward. So what was the reward? Did you actually get any award? Did you get any funding as a result of your the project
Action,
actually
yeah.
carried out? There's also the lesson side of it. I think that was my follow-up question during my interview.
Okay.
So what would you have done differently?
Exactly. I had that too.
Yeah.
So I had that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I spoke a lot about that.
Yeah.
So that's another perspective. You can also add that to your essay as well. Then at times I struggled using the STAR approach. So I found out about the CAR approach. Which is
A lot of
CAR.
approaches.
Yeah, yeah, so Star is not fixing Star.
So I-
I don't personally subscribe to Star. I just, maybe because I'm a storyteller
Did you
naturally, yeah.
Okay,
So I used the CAR. There's a CAR approach. I think I used a blend of both of them. So the CAR approach is basically C stands for context. So you talk about basically the entire scenario. It's more like the STAR approach, but I think you're merging the S and the T together. So you talk about the context was a problem, and then the action, and then the results.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
And
Similarly.
then there's also the aspect of, because a lot of people actually get scared when it comes to leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've not made a lot of impact.
Yes,
I've
yeah.
not reached out to 5,000 people like Aminat. I've not been able to.
That was an example.
I've not headed an organization before.
Exactly.
I've not given a post. I've not been the class rep. So
So wow, that's amazing. Let's proceed to the networking now.
For the networking essay, I think it's actually good. I actually had to start because that was one essay I struggled with. I struggled with all my mentors. I was always talking about to my mentor, my networking essay. I struggle with it a lot. So first of all, you have to understand what networking is,
Yeah.
and then again, you have to understand yourself, your person. Do you build relationships by going out? Are you the outgoing type? Or are you the type that like to just, sit in your house and just
Pressing
connect to
phone.
people through social media? So you have to know how do you build your
Relationships,
You
yeah.
have to understand that. And I got to realize that I build relationships majorly by joining communities and associations.
Yeah.
I'm not the conference type. So I go to a conference and I meet a very interesting speaker and I'm like,
yeah, this guy. I see this guy.
No. I'm very shy that that's not my kind of person. So I join communities, and when I join a community, I look for what I can contribute to the community.
Very important.
In as much as I want to benefit from the community. So I try to highlight those communities I've actually joined.
That was a
Yeah,
good one.
so my friends already tell many tips for networking actually. So I gotta give some short tips. So I think my tip is talking about futures as well. If at the on the top of your path of how you maintain and you build networking, I think Chevenings want to know how you gonna use a Chevening course or Chevening networking to do the impact or something, or how do you gonna maintain this friend
Yeah.
in UK. So
Yeah.
that's I added it to for example you're gonna make some sheets that you contain the information of your friends or what is your friend's interest or something like this. So that might be you can use it in the future if you want to connect with your friends in the future.
Yeah.
That's my tips.
So do you have our data in an Excel sheet now?
I gonna get it.
That's extreme, man. Okay, so I want to go back and talk about my failed attempt because I applied Chevening twice and I got at the third attempt.
Oh.
So one of the things I failed to do in other times was that I couldn't tie my networking to problem solving. So I was just name throwing. I met the president of this at this conference. I met this person. I think that's what I did the first time. I'm the president of this. I was just showing names and what I've done. I attended this conference. I met this person. So I think later on when I was writing, I then discovered, okay, it's not about dropping names. It's also about what you do with those people, like you guys have said. So okay, I've met Yala. She's a film director. So when I was shooting my documentary on literacy development, I was able to call her and she gave me the cameras and everything to use to that. At the end of the day, we were able to shoot a documentary on literacy. So you still bring it up to solving the problem and how I've helped that. So it's not just about name dropping, it's about how those people you've met have been able to help you solve a problem and how you to have helped them.
That's very true.
Note that down.
Yes, you listening, you.
The problem-solving bit was actually going to come out, but since he made mention of it, I just have to move to the next one, which I think is also important. What are your networks also creating, especially at the community? So it's not only about meeting people, like you said, right, or building relationships, but what are those relationships contributing to, right? So I'll still come back to my experience. I was able to, through my networking, especially with the UN system in the Gambia, I was able to lobby for more funding for my organization through some projects, right? So that's impact in another way, right? So it's not only about going and meeting the UN and having meetings to them, but what networking abilities are you portraying to them or giving them in return for them to give funding to your organization? I think that's very important, right? And at the end of the day also, what are those networks build? What are you using those networks to build on? Okay, so you network with the UN. Okay, that's one achievement for you. But what other opportunities are you tapping on through the UN to get to the international stage, for example, for your organization? So it's like building on networks upon networks, right? So you can use one particular network to get to more opportunities or to achieve more. So what a lot of people do is like, okay, I just build networks with the Chevening community and that's it, right? But with that particular Chevening community, what other opportunities are coming out of it through other initiatives or projects, right? So when this comes to play, it realizes how sustainable your network building is, but also how impactful your projects are and continuing to be. So if actually you achieve this through this organization or through this UN agency, what you can focus more as an individual is what other opportunities am I tapping on or building on with this particular networks, right? It can be in the aspect of collaboration or increasing your opportunities on networks. You can tell them other aspects of your jobs, or you can even tell them to link you to further opportunities. But also, I think it's also about how do we expand networks, right? Not just within your community or in your country, but even at the global stage. And how are you able to bring people together, right? So it's not only about you. And whenever you're talking about it, it doesn't only have to be okay, myself just achieving it, right? Yeah. How are you connecting other people? Yes. Right now, I'm not in the Gambia, for example. If I was just working for myself, that would have been like a cut down. Right? But if you're able to use certain people to link those people to those opportunities, even if you're not there, your impact continues and there's sustainability in what you do. So you think about it in a broader perspective, not just you as an individual, but the greater good, and how are you able to expand those networks by impacting more lives and also bringing other people together.
I can see that Frita wants to actually write a networking essay again.
I mean, Chevening made the right choice. Yeah, next question would be, why UK? Why not other countries in the world? Like of all the countries in the world, why UK? What makes it UK special for you, Kevin?
So this essay, I think they want to know how you passionate to study here, because Chevening it's just Chevening. So Chevening it's not just Chevening, it's UK. So you have studied in the UK. So why is UK? You have to answer what's important to study here. Maybe, for example, like academic outstandings or cultures, right? So for me, I try to research is about university as well. Because one thing you have to mention about your courses, right, in these essays. So because why study in UK? So my tips is I recommend you to deeply research it about the things that you really passionate in. For example, your courses you have. For me, I know many like lecturers, expertise, so that I can understand how my course is gonna be. Like so, I be able to write it on detail. Yeah, that's my tips.
Yeah, I just want to build on what Kevin says, because for me, because your guys are not letting me think. No, anyways, but search your university, like search how the course is combining there. For me, I even mentioned names, professors, like their article they published and how that impacted me, and even how that impacted the community, in my community, like in general in Africa. I did my research on my first choice of University of Sussex, especially IDS. I did my research like IDS being like world rank,
ranking.
Exactly. And the whole world, everything. So
Definitely.
they know that you have done your research and you really want to go there. So that's something you need to do. Like,
Yeah, I think this particular essay on the study in the UK is very personal and also very tricky. But I think it's this way your personality comes out. So if you have a good personality, understand what you want, then it will be difficult for you to get what you need. I think even in the previous years when I didn't get Chevening, I think my career essays were kind of on point because everybody talks about ranking. I think you have to go beyond what everybody talks about. Like, I know when I saw Sussex, I saw number one idea. I knew that was a trap. Everybody's going to say that. So I have to look for something that's different about it too. And I also have to look at what. So I look at the issue of diversity, especially from where I'm coming from. And I said, why UK? My country is not a very diverse place. We are all black. We're all two religions. Everybody, we're two sex, two everything. But in this place, we have different multi-religions, multi-personalities.
it's not going to be
Yes. Yeah, there's freedom.
I'm saying that.
What? Yeah, but that's I put that in my essay. Yes, there's more freedom in the UK than where I'm from.
That's true.
That's the reality. Yeah, you're free to express yourself here than back home. So that's why I put that in my essay. And I put a lot of football, some like Sussex. This movie, Mr. Bean. It was shot here. King Arthur was shot in some university, I think Leeds or so. So those are Harry Potter, those little things. But not just putting it. How does it relate to what you are doing? You know, like you're doing something on gender right, and you can look at this university was the first place where you had the Women's Rights Act movement, something like that. You know, if you're interested in media, okay, this is where this movie showed that a good media community there and stuff. You know, so depending on what you are doing, so that's that.
So it's just to add to what they've said. Why UK? One thing that I always brag about, which is about ideas, right? We're always saying anywhere we are, it's not only about bragging, but it's about equality. It's one in the world for development studies. So the ranking is very important, and the quality, and ranking is based on quality, right? And everybody wants to go in for quality and the best, right? The other thing is why UK is, like I mentioned earlier, the program is 1 year. In other countries, you have masters for 2 years, right? We are global leaders. Chevening is sponsoring global leaders. Chevening is sponsoring people to network and go back to their communities. It gives you an opportunity to eagerly go back to your community and serve, to impact or create change, right? The scholars, the alumni community, especially at IDS, it's very strong. There are a lot of networking events happening. There are a lot of career opportunities being posted. Scholars are so amazing. You know, you're always networking with the alumni community, and the learning keeps continuing even after your studies.
Exactly.
So these are the few things that really stood out for me in the UK.
And my top tip has to do with relating it to your course of study, what you want to study. So besides my colleagues talk about diversity, culture, and freedom, but what's the UK actually doing, in your field? Are they a leader in your field? So if you are into development, what's the UK doing in terms of development? If you are into media or gender, diversity, what's the UK actually doing in that area? If it's the environment or climate change or energy, what's the UK doing? And when you check, you actually realize that the UK is, virtually, one of the top countries in, basically all these areas. So you can start, with doing that, and also you can go further and mention why you're actually fit for all these programs. Why do you think you are capable of studying in the UK? And then in terms of when you're actually writing about your 3 choices, you can look into modules, look into professors, like my colleague have said, and look into their work. What have they done? What opportunities are the course going to actually give you? Are you going to have opportunities to gain experience, to work on short projects, or travel? Some programs actually give you opportunities to travel, and also internship. So you can also talk about that. And then the study in the UK essay is not all about academics and you also have to talk about the social side of it. You can just talk about that in one of your examples.
Okay, that this comes up to our last essay, which is career plan. So let's discuss about career plan. I'm giving the floor to Aminat.
I was so comfortable when I saw her looking at Namsi.
That's a different look. You don't have to do this thing.
Why are they always putting me on point? Next time I'm not joining.
No, let's agree on cut Namsi out.
Okay, so the career plan, basically it's about having an approach. It needs an approach, right? You have to know what you want for yourself as an individual, right? You're going for studies, you have to have plans for yourself. So what I did personally as a personal experience was to divide my career plan into 3 parts. I had my immediate career plan, I had my midterm career plan, and I had my long-term career plan. Right, so it's not about impressing the interview panel with a lot of big things. You start from somewhere and move to another thing. So quite a lot of times, or quite a number of times, people make mistakes that okay, I have to make it look really perfect or big so they can trust me. No, certain things are there. You say it, people obviously know it's not possible.
Yeah.
Like building an organization when you return, it's not an immediate plan. It's a long-term plan. The middle-term plan is about as a mid-term project. What do you want to do? It doesn't have to be immediate. It doesn't have to be very, very long term, but it has to be in between. Like after your first 5 years, what else do you want to do? And this is when you bring about the issue of relationships, expanding your network or expanding your relationships, and also making sure that those relationships you have built are bringing more impact, right? And how are you going to do that in your community? For example, let's say, for example, I have a particular intervention. I want to expand it to another region. I want to expand it to another country. That's a middle-term plan, and it's achievable. So it has to be realistic. It has to be time-bound. It has to be achievable, right? Someone doesn't have to listen to it and question your plan, right? So you have to be as much realistic as possible, and you also have to know how you're going to achieve it. Right? If you say, okay, I want to expand my organization, you bring about your existing relationships and how you are going to use those existing relationships to expand your organization, right? How you're going to use the opportunities you have gathered here. Possibly you met with certain donors, possibly you met with certain development partners in the UK, and you have already started building relationships with them. So when you go back, you talk about how you're going to use those relationships to expand on your projects, right? To wrap up, just to say it has to be related to all your ECs, right? It doesn't have to be vague. If you talk about the long-term plan, you bring in the partnership bit, right? You bring in the relationship bit. You bring in the potential you have as a leader, right? To expand your networks, to build opportunities, and also to create lasting relationships or change in your communities as well. Yeah.
Do you have anything to add on this?
Of course.
I have to try. I'll try. But who's going next? Me or?
You go next.
Okay, Amina has actually said like basically everything. I feel like writing my career plan and say again. But just to add to what she has said, I think she has broken down the layer, like the structure of the career plan. But I would like to also add the introductory part of it. It's good to have a very catchy introduction, and most times you need to show the problem that your career plan is going to solve. So you have to show what's the problem. If you are into energy, talk about the energy problem that you are going to solve with. That's the key word there. The problem you intend to solve with your career plan.
Yeah, definitely.
So there has to be a linkage between the problem. So you can't talk about energy, and then your career plan is probably talking about something completely different from it. And then again, you can also talk about how you probably want to work with the UK government when you return. You can add that to any part of probably the immediate or the mid-term career plan. Is there a project the UK is doing in your country that you would love to actually work on? Chevening also has specifically said or advised not to talk about PhD. It's an advice. You can go ahead and actually include that, but it's just an advice. So I think
because I think you have the 2-year plan.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
the condition,
exactly. So it's always advisable not to actually do that. And the last point, your career plan has to, for me, this is my last point, your career plan has to relate to your study in the UK.
Exactly.
So always, if I read your study in the UK essay, I should be able to speculate your career plan. If I read your career plan essay, I should be able to speculate what you want to study. So
you say many things too. Like you don't blame Amina's. You say many things too. Okay, so it's actually good point for you from about mentioned something about PhD on the career plan, but I'm gonna be the example that I mentioned the PhD in my career plans.
Okay.
But actually, we have to have a strategy to mention it. I know it's a weakness if you mention it because it's so easy to mention.
PhD,
We can go further and PhD like everybody can, right? So, but you have to know how that PhD gonna like benefit you and your community, and how it's gonna be solve the problems, and that you mentioned in the first introduction, right?
Okay.
So I mentioned it in long-term career plans.
Okay, good.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because after we working, we gain experience and also studying in UK, we can continue it with PhD. Why not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in UK again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
mentioned it.
Okay.
So my second point is a short one. So I suggest to say something about Chevening, like in the futures, like maybe you can give back for Chevenings
Yeah.
Okay.
anytime you want.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's a good point. Thank you for actually being the exception in terms of PhD.
Yeah, you can mention it.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when I applied the first 2 times for his PhD, I didn't get it. When I moved PhD, I got it. So I don't know. But maybe I didn't tie
The way
it
you
properly.
use it, maybe
the way I
the way
put
you
it.
use
Yeah,
it,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and also, like she said, you have to be very realistic. You have to tie your career plan to what you've been doing before. So, if before Chevening you had only 2 or 3 years work experience, so you cannot come back and say you want to be the head of EFCC or or you want to be
From
the
nowhere.
head from nowhere. But maybe if you had like a 10, 15, maybe like the people like us who are people who are directors of an organization back home in Nigeria, and this 1 year is like a study leave for them. Going back, definitely they're going to get a promotion to a higher authority because of based on their track record. So you have to look at what you've done before. Let it tally. So you've not worked only 2 years and you want to get the job of someone that's worked 20 years. Very important.
Unrealistic.
Yeah. And also your career plan doesn't have to be linear. Like mine wasn't linear. I said my career plan from the bottom, from the long term. As in the long run, I would love to work in UNESCO. But before working in UNESCO, I would like when I come back from Chevening, I would do this, that. Then I now took the story backwards
yeah.
to the short-term plan. So it doesn't have to be
Linear.
You can make it, so,
That's nice.
yeah, so that's all. Yeah. Thank you.
I just have one word. Ambitious but realistic.
Yeah.
Be ambitious, but be also
Realistic.
realistic,
Yeah.
like all what you have been saying. And I guess that's all. And don't forget to apply because the application will be closed on November 7th.
3 weeks.
In 2 weeks'
In
time.
3
Yeah,
weeks,
3
yeah.
weeks.
So it's not too late. Actually, if you start your application now, it's not too late. So go get it.
Chevening gives the best. Go get it.